Welcome to this deep dive. We're looking at a couple of sources you've shared today,
That's right. We've got an astrology forecast for June 1st, 2025, and also a story called The Light We Carry.
both from Tarot by Heisey. You can find more at tarotbyhic.net.
Mm-hmm.
And our plan really is to unpack these, see what they say on their own, and then we'll find those connections about life, healing, self-worth, even.
Yeah, it's an interesting pairing. Let's maybe start with the astrology for June 1st.
All right.
What really jumped out at me was the overall energy. It's like a call to live out loud.
Yeah, absolutely. It talks about making bold moves,
Yeah.
right? And finding the silver lining, even if things get surprising.
And embracing this playful, expressive vibe.
Celebrating love,
Yeah.
creativity, the simple things.
There's definitely a feeling of moving forward.
Right. And an invitation to adventure comes with that.
Yeah.
But interestingly, there's also a little bit of caution.
Oh,
Feel the energy, make the moves, but maybe, don't be totally impulsive. It's more about channeling it. Because
okay.
it also mentions this extra surge of ambition, a real can-do spirit.
Exactly. And that this energy helps us show our best sides.
Makes sense. And the advice seems practical to take that passion, that motivation, and use it responsibly.
Efficiently, even.
Yeah.
Setting intentions for the week, making time for self-care, getting organized, directing the energy.
Right, not just letting it run wild.
Precisely.
Okay, so then it gets into the specific planets moving through the day. Midday, Leo moon trine Venus.
Yeah. Described as bringing intense, passionate, exciting energy, big feelings.
Potential for big feelings. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the afternoon gets a bit different. Leo moon square Uranus.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That often points to unexpected shifts.
Yeah.
Or maybe just a really strong urge to break out of routine.
Things could get interesting.
Could get interesting fast, yeah.
But then also in the afternoon, it mentions Leo moon sextile Jupiter.
Right, which adds a sprinkle of optimism, maybe some faith. So you had that change impulse, maybe even disruption,
Mm-hmm.
but also a sense that things could work out okay in the end.
Kind of a dynamic tension there.
Definitely. And then as we move into the evening, the moon shifts into Virgo.
Ah, okay. That changes the feel.
Big time. It grounds things, pulls the focus towards, practical stuff, health, self-improvement, a shift from Leo's big expression to Virgo's detail.
Got it. Now, out of all those transits, the one that really caught my eye was Venus conjunct Chiron.
Ah, yes. The forecast calls out a raw but redemptive note.
Raw feels right. It says it can bring up uncomfortable issues.
Yes, and specifically links them to past wounds. Old relationship wounds resurfacing.
And it gets specific about the type of wounds, too.
It does, tied to self-worth. Times we felt overlooked, were undervalued, maybe left behind.
Wow. Okay. That's direct.
Yeah.
And the core insight it offers from this transit.
Well, it doesn't pull punches. It basically says healing isn't always about neat closure.
Right.
Often it looks like choosing yourself, especially when maybe others didn't or won't.
Choosing yourself. Okay, that idea,
That's
it feels like a perfect link to the second source.
the story, the light we carry.
Exactly. About Elena and her grandmother Rosa's letter.
Yeah, the way that story starts is just lovely. The old house, blue shutters, ivy.
And finding the letter in her mother's poetry book, that detail about it smelling of dust and lavender, it sets such a mood.
It really does. And the letter itself, faded ink, elegant but trembling handwriting. You feel the history.
And that opening line, to the one who will understand, just pulls you right in.
Promises something intimate, doesn't it? Cross time.
And Elena reads it at this specific time, late afternoon, golden light. Feels like a moment for discovery.
And what's in the letter? Raw confessions from Rosa. Things nobody talked about.
Like being loved too little, spoken of in hushed tones. Passed over.
Yeah, the story details the hurts a marriage like a prison, demanding friendships, apologies that never came.
Rooms grown colder with silence. Oof. It paints such a clear picture of neglect.
A deep, soul-level neglect. And the feelings Rosa describes. The ache of being unseen. The loneliness of never being chosen.
That peculiar kind of madness that can grow when you think you're unworthy of kindness. So relatable for so many, I imagine.
Absolutely. But the key thing is, the letter doesn't just stay there, in the pain.
Right. The story says it turned into something else.
It becomes Rosa's definition of healing. And it echoes that astrology forecast idea healing isn't just closure.
It comes in fragments, she says.
Yes, with such vivid examples like waking up one morning without anger, or cooking a meal just for yourself.
To nourish you, not to please someone else.
Exactly. Or saying your own name in the mirror, like you're meeting yourself for the first time and, crucially, finding her worthy.
Wow. That one hits hard. And the story shows how much this landed for Elena.
Because she'd spent her life chasing love like a beggar pleading for crumbs.
Her own experiences mirrored Rosa's, didn't they? Lovers admiring her body, not her mind. Friends only there when they were lonely.
A mother focused on duty, not tenderness. You see the pattern carrying down.
So after reading this, Elena doesn't just sit with it, she acts.
Powerful action. Takes out that broken mirror she hated.
The one reflecting flaws her mother pointed out.
Looks into it. And speaks her own name. Softly, then louder. The story calls it acclaiming.
Acclaiming. I like that.
And her actions keep going in the following days. Writing letters she won't send. Just processing.
Collecting driftwood on the shore. Seeing them as scattered but not lost parts of herself.
Acknowledging brokenness, but affirming wholeness underneath. And planting that rose bush.
With thorns. A reminder that beauty defends itself. Fierce self-protection.
And growth. And when those old wounds came up, those feelings of being unseen, she didn't fight them off.
No, she let them sit. This is important, Ray.
Crucial. Let them sit, but then fed them stories of who she was becoming.
And that robbed them of their power.
Beautifully put, which leads to Rosa's final lesson in the letter. It just ties it all together.
Healing isn't a door that closed behind you.
No, it's the courage to stay with yourself when others left. The tenderness to choose yourself in the quiet hours.
And the light you carry. Not for others to see you, but so you can find your own way.
Find your own way through the dark. Powerful stuff.
Okay, so let's unpack the connections. Putting these side by side, it's pretty clear.
It really is. You've got the astrology, Venus conjunct Chiron, explicitly naming those old wounds around self-worth.
Being overlooked, undervalued.
And then Rosa's story gives this incredibly vivid, personal example of exactly that. Same core experience, different lens.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. Both of them point to choosing yourself as the way through.
Absolutely. The astrology advises prioritizing self-care, turning that ambitious energy inward when needed.
While the story shows us what that looks like. Rosa's fragmented healing acts, Elena's claiming her name.
Her self-tending actions afterwards, and Rosa's final lesson about that tenderness of choosing yourself. It's the same message.
And remember the Leo moon square Uranus in the forecast? Unexpected shifts, breaking free.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mirror Elena's transformation after finding the letter? A sudden break from that lifelong pattern.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great connection. It's like the external energy matches the internal readiness sparked by the letter, enabling the shift.
And finally, both encourage navigating by your own inner light.
The astrology talks about expressing your best self, that ambition.
And Rosa's lesson is literally about carrying your own light to find your own way. Self-direction, inner knowing.
So when you, listening, are dealing with all the noise, all the external pressures, these sources offer a powerful point.
That while stuff happens out there, the most vital compass is often internal.
Understanding your worth, tending your needs,
Yeah.
knowing the strength comes from that light you carry.
Yeah. It boils down to some key things, doesn't it? Healing is ongoing, small choices.
Valuing yourself, choosing your well-being is fundamental, not selfish, fundamental.
And resilience comes from nurturing that inner light.
Which leaves us with something to think about moving forward from this.
A question for you, really. How might you start practicing choosing yourself in those small, everyday moments, just like Elena learned to do?